all around this wonderful United States and Canada and wherever you are today. Look, it's the original OG crew.
What?
Yeah, for real.
We're back, baby.
Oof, I'm glad you didn't say what Rachel used to say on Big Brother. Good. Had me worried there. I watched too much Big Brother back in the day. Yes, we're back. We're going to be taking your listener questions. So put those in the chat, and we're going to be talking about all of the wonderful things that Ricky just came back from this weekend that she did this past weekend. And Pam did a lot of cool stuff too.
I did.
She was there for quite a while too and did some stuff that we did not do. We still haven't talked about Space 220, have we?
We have not. We should talk
about
that.
That was the one thing I knew we were saving something, and that was the one thing I know we'll talk about on Friday. Jennifer, when do you go down, Jennifer? Soon? Yeah, I guess. She hijacked the Mickey cart. Yes, the golf cart in her avatar.
Oh yeah.
Is that during a race? I can't see. It's probably during a race. I'm guessing it's probably there because they put that thing out usually on Cone Alley over by Shades of Green. I told everybody we drove that when we played golf over at the Mickey.
They usually have it like at events and stuff at conferences. It's like sitting there too.
That'd be such a flex because now we don't have a golf cart where we live because, well, we don't live in like the fancy part of where I live. Like we live in the cheap little houses that are next to the gigantic houses. And anyway, our subdivision's like landlocked, but behind us is a huge country club called Whitmore, and everybody back there has golf carts. And Mallory wants a golf cart. I'm like, hey, we're not getting one. We don't have that kind of money. And B, there's nowhere we could go with our golf cart because you'd have to cross this highway. It's a dually highway.
Right.
On our like speed limit, we get killed. Like nowhere you could go like up and down the street. That's it. But yeah, that'd be the flex to have that Mickey Mouse golf cart.
Right? I know.
Yeah. So the Pam rumors. Wine and Dine 2019. Yes. Wine and Dine. Less than 3 weeks to Wine and Dine. I can't believe it.
Crazy.
Run Disney starting again.
Crazy. Mm-hmm. No, I came back.
I know.
They weren't true.
I thought it was just Scotty G, but we're giving him the night off. He's going to get some vittles at a normal time tonight. Actually, I think he's going out for his run. He's starting his Wine and Dine training tonight.
Oh, gosh.
Probably is. Yeah.
Shout out, Scotty. Scott, Joe wants if anybody needs a Wine and Dine party ticket. There you go. Apparently, we'll talk about that. I'll mention that on the show. I got an email just before the show. They're coming in the mail. So watch your U.S. mailbox.
Really?
You're coming in an unmarked white envelope, apparently. I don't know what's up with that. It sounded totally shady, but I'll...
It's like they have someone in a back room somewhere at Disney World with like a bunch of old envelopes.
Yeah, these will work. Yeah.
Did somebody forget like to collect email addresses or something? Like all of a sudden they're coming in check your email for this plain white envelope. That'll be your party ticket.
You're supposed to use your Disney app for everything except for these things.
We're gonna send you a ticket.
It was so weird.
Can you like add it to your My Disney experience?
Yes, it did say that, I think.
Oh, that's good.
Wow.
But they won't automatically put it in there. You got to get your ticket.
It's
crazy.
And why don't they just have you submit your My Disney experience, the email you use for My Disney experience? Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, I'll say that at the top of the show just to get that out there because we're pretty close. Yeah, Wade got his, but okay. Oh yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll try to figure. Okay, let's do this. Here we go. 1980, and I have a question for you guys because we're in the 1980 shows now. Here we go.
Got it.
You ready? Okay. Oh no, it's not recording. Oh, here it goes. Welcome to episode 1983 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you are having a great week here in the fall. Man, the weather has really churned for the better here in the Midwest. Got a little chill in the morning, sunny, crisp afternoons, and you really can't ask for better than that football season. Of course, postseason for baseball. You got hockey started, basketball starting. It is a great time for fall festivals and all that stuff. And Run Disney coming back at you here in less than 3 weeks. And I have an announcement, strange announcement, but I just want to give you a heads up in case you missed your email if you're running Wine and Dine in just a second. But first, Let's get the OG crew announced. This is like going back to like 2012 or something. We're all three here. It's awesome. So joining us from the mouseforless.com, we have Cruella DeVille. No, we have Ricky from down at, she was at Walt Disney World this past weekend, all dressed up for the party. Check it out on Instagram. Ricky, what's going on?
I had such a good time, but it is good to be back and with my family here, with all of us here. It's so exciting.
I know. It's
yeah,
it's like reunion week.
exactly. It totally is like reunion. So yay! It's good to be here though. It's good to be here.
So does that drive ever get any shorter from Walt Disney World
No.
back to North Georgia each time you come back?
You know, and I've done it now 3 times. Well, it's technically 6 times because drive there and drive back. So I've done it 6 times within the course of a month. That was a little much. But you know, it doesn't get shorter, but you have like different milestones that you hit. So you know, okay, when I hit this milestone, I have only this far to go, and when I hit this milestone, I have this far to go. So like the towns are definitely my markers of, okay, I just need to go this far and then I can be in this city, and then I hit this far and then I can be in this city, and I just make my way that way. So and I have lots of music is basically what I do. I just sing at the top of my lungs the whole time, pretty much, which makes Brian happy. Yeah.
Between Orlando and Atlanta, I would definitely count down the Zaxby's. Okay, I'm like 12 Zaxby's from home. I'm 7 Zaxby's from home. You know,
Yeah,
that'd be a good gauge, right?
I don't
mean,
really like
there's lots of
Zaxby's.
on.
I'm sorry.
So, well, there's
sorry,
lots of
Mike.
them, though. I mean, yeah, get a little.
I'm sorry. I don't like Zaxby's. I can
Nibblers.
count the I can count the Fazoli's. There's only 2 of them.
Okay,
yeah, there's only 2 Fazoli's. So
okay, so the question I have to ask you. Apparently, this is your show. Your mom's in the live chat. You're born.
it is.
It's
I'm born in 1983. This is my show.
Sick. I know.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I know. Right.
Flexing. Okay, so I'm going to ask you and Pam both. Okay,
Us
1983, the 80s are my decade. You got to pick one arcade game, your favorite arcade game, not video game from like at home, but like you go to the arcade, like stand up, you know, in the cabinet. What's your go-to arcade game?
Okay, for me?
Yeah, what do you play?
Okay, does this count? I know, that's why I'm asking the question. I like pinball.
Pinball's good. It's not really a video game. I guess that could be an arcade. They're an arcade.
Yeah, so that's kind of like my arcade game. There was when I was a kid, at my parents' friend's house, they had this awesome pinball machine, and I cannot think of what it is now. But it was mine and my brother's like favorite pinball machine. We loved to play this one. I remember it was like a robot or something that was involved in. If I would ask him, he would know 100% what this game was. But it was just the most fun pinball machine ever, and we would love to play that every time we went over to their house. So pinball is definitely my game. Now, when I'm at Walt Disney World, they have a Guardians of the Galaxy pinball machine that I crush. So I do like the Guardians of the Galaxy one.
Okay, that's not 80s. Okay,
I know. I'm sorry. That's not 80s. I got it.
Something like Centipede or Pac-Man, which people.
Yeah, I understand that. Okay, if I'm gonna go with that, then I'm gonna go with like Donkey Kong.
That's a good answer. See, that's what I was looking at. 5 minutes later, we got a solid 1982 answer. Something that could be.
But pinball is my like. If I'm going to an arcade, that's what I'm playing. I'm playing pinball. So
and I like pinball. Haunted House was my favorite pinball from the skating rink back in the day. But hey, we're not here to talk about retro video games. We're here to talk about Disney. And joining us, it's been a bit. It's been a minute, as the kids say. We have Pam Forrester, co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel. Welcome back, Pam. Glad to have you.
It's been a minute. It has been a minute. I fit a lot of stuff in that minute. Let me just say, I feel like there's lots of stuff going on in the minute. So I'm so glad to be back with my podcast family. Thankfully, I got to see y'all during that time. So it wasn't as if we were, never seeing each other. But yes, I'm back.
She's back, baby.
Before I forget, what's your go-to arcade game? If you have to pick one, like what's the one that you school everybody else in, or your favorite?
Okay, so there's 2, of course, because I'm Pam Forrester and I always pick 2 when I'm supposed to pick 1. And absolutely Pac-Man, loved that, right? And the other one was ready, Tron.
Oh,
loved
she went
Tron because there were so many different games, right? And you had to be good at more than one. And some of them were a lot more challenging than others. So yeah, I liked both of those.
Very good. Okay, so before we get to today's listener, that's a great choice. I have my little. So back in a couple of years ago, they came out with those arcade one-up machines that are at Walmart. And I got one
Yeah.
for Father's Day a couple of years ago right when the pandemic. So this was last year, like in June of 2020, when like you couldn't leave the house. This is what I got for our anniversary and Father's Day. I got one of those arcade one-up Pac-Man machines that also has Galaga and has a bunch of different Pac-Mans. So it's right there behind me. And yes, solid. The Pac-Man's my game though. That's it. So
Good choice.
come to the studio. We'll play some Pac-Man sometime. No quarters.
All right.
All right. So real quick, apparently we're having a Good Bones Day or a Bones Day. I found out. I've been watching social media. Didn't know what
Bones Day.
Bones Day. Every dog stands on TikTok. I don't know what it's about. Apparently, somebody explained it to me. Today, Disney Cruise Line, we're booking cruises for folks in spring of 2023. And I'll tell you what, just you want a little inside baseball of travel agent life. You always hear about teacher life. Well, I'm on all these memes because my wife gets all the teacher videos and they're funny, right? Because I used to be a teacher for 17 years. I crack up at them. There's this guy named Jerry Brookson that does all these videos. He's hilarious. But behind the scenes of a travel agent, like, okay, when Silver Day rolls around, when it's time to book cruises for folks that are silver with Disney Cruise Line, that's one of those days that just like, it's a little stressful, right? Because there's a lot of people that are silver, but you also have to go through a few more hoops because it's not general public, because you have to prove the silver cruise membership to kind of get that booked early. Not a problem, but it just takes a little bit longer. And, there's the phone lines get jammed up and stuff like that. Today, no problem. Like they had a lot of cast members working. Everything was like, everybody was happy. So I guess today is a Bones Day.
It is a Bones Day. Yes, 100%.
So there you go. Okay, real quick before we get to the first question of the day, I wanted to remind everybody running the Wine and Dine Race Weekend, because I got this email about 1 hour ago. Just have a heads up, because I don't know what this is about. This is kind of weird. But again, we're getting our groove back, right? With the running thing. This is the first race back in a little while. And I think maybe somebody missed something. And I got this all caps email that says important Disney Wine and Dine Half Marathon participant information, all caps in the heading. And it says, you'll be receiving your post-race party ticket in the mail at the mailing address you provided in your My Disney Experience account. Now, this is in all bold. You will need to provide the ticket you receive in the mail in a plain white envelope via USPS to gain entry into the post-race party. You can also add your ticket to your My Disney Experience account and use the card or magic band associated with that account for entry. Mailing started on October 15th, so you can expect to receive your ticket shortly thereafter. And if you do not receive your ticket prior to arriving at Walt Disney World, on-site ticket solutions will be available at the arena box office during the expo. So that's kind of interesting that it's just the plain white envelope thing cracks me up. I mean,
Yes.
like, I know that there's supply chain issues, but I mean, like, I guess they ran out of letters. I don't know. So just heads up on everybody that's going there. And then you can click on the digital guide. So I'm just excited. We'll be back to running here very shortly. So.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think of.
It is. All right, so we have some questions, and this one comes from Karen. She says, hey, Mike, Pam, and Ricky, it says how to get the princess experience with no Akershus, Artist Point, 1900 Park Fair, etc. What is the best way for 4 little girls to have the big time princess experience at Walt Disney World right now? I know Cinderella is at least waving to guests at the Castle Restaurant right now, and it sounds like Fairy Tale Hall is coming back. Would love any other suggestions from you and the team. Thanks. Karen, not a Karen in College Station. She says, P.S. How about the Aggies Bama game? Okay, Karen, you've been blocked. Okay, you're out. Okay. Ricky, thoughts? Got to get the princess experience. Things are moving in the right direction. And the momentum's, the tide is rolling, Karen, towards more princess meetings. See what I'm doing there? There you go. Ricky, okay, what do we got?
This is tough because there's not a lot of places to see the princesses. So right now, I know you can see Anna and Elsa in Norway. And you can also see, I've come across Aurora in France. She's actually more towards the side. She used to be back in the back, kind of where you would walk to and toward Ratatouille, but now she's on the main pathway, so you won't miss her. As far as other princess experiences, the character meals don't really have anything in that regard, except for Cinderella's Royal Table, where you only see Cinderella. Did they say, I guess the princesses are coming back to Princess Fairy Tale Hall, so that'll be nice. But it's going to be a different experience, so they're not going to get to hug the, princesses and things like that. You're going to be able to see them from a little bit of a distance. But that is still something really cool that it's good that it's coming back now. No date has officially been announced yet, but I'm hearing sometime in November for that. So, gosh, I really think that is just Akershus is not back, which is surprising, although it is a buffet, so maybe not that surprising. I can't think of any other. I was at Hollywood Studios and there was nothing there really at Princessy, so that's about all I know of right now.
So I did Crystal Palace on October 1st, and it's a buffet, and there was no issues with it being a buffet. Like, you know, you just grab your mask, go up there, grab your food, sit back down. I mean, the buffets can come back, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, once you have princess meet and greets, then you have up close. You know, it's a whole different kind of flow of things as opposed to how they're doing it like at Topolino's Terrace, Chef Mickey, stuff like that. I mean, it can definitely be done. Pam, what are your thoughts on this, though? Karen's kind of looking for other ways to meet princesses at least the best she can during this situation right now.
So the princesses are definitely in the character cavalcades that go through. There's one that is specific to princesses. There isn't like a time, there isn't a published time for that so that you can see what's going to be, you know, who's going to be coming through next. But talk to the cast members. I'm sure they can help you out with that. They also are at the train station at different times too. Again, not really something you can plan in advance, designed to be more of a sort of surprise and delight moment that you sort of happen upon. But toward the evening when people are walking out, or in the morning sometimes, are good times to look in those spaces. It's challenging, but it's also, to me, surprising how, as adults, I will say, our ability to sort of transition to this different way of greeting the characters, I think we made it more complicated than kids did. I swear from like day one, kids were like, I can't go say hi to them. All right, I can wave from here. Okay, cool. And they do it. And it was just, it's kind of interesting to see that. I mean, of course, we'd all like to hug them and give them our book and things like that. But so many things have changed. Kids sort of roll with these punches a little more. I think another thing you can always do is, you know, buy some special princess merchandise, right? I mean, who doesn't want a really cool tiara or, you know, a princess something? And there's no shortage of princess somethings at Disney World. So hopefully with those kind of things, you'll get your princess fix in.
Yeah. And I think we had a call Sunday night when we did the live call-in show with Scott. And we had this question about, you know, we were trying to narrow down. They were kind of frustrated because they're going in early November. Not really frustrated, but they're trying to figure out when these socially distant meet and greets will return, because Disney says they are coming, but they have not published a specific date as to when. And It's, you know, they have a 4-year-old child who's going to Walt Disney World for the first time. Very excited, obviously, at 4 years old, about meeting characters. And, you know, we had the discussion that with a 4-year-old, it is kind of a challenge, though, for somebody who's never been in a theme park environment. If they see Mickey Mouse, like, they're going to have the temptation. And I know I don't know what they're going to do to, you know, if a kid runs up and tries to hug it, you know, I mean,
I am sure they will be,
I mean,
I'm sure there will be a way to block, like you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, yeah, there will definitely be a barrier.
Shoots up out of the ground, iron spike, like you've invaded the, you know, 24-inch rule or something. I don't know. But the thing is, like, I think, because, you know, we were explaining, because this, you know, this caller that called in, we were having this discussion that I think a lot of us are really adjusting to the selfie, the flyby selfie, right? Because he wasn't under the understanding of how many characters you can still meet. Like, I was talking about meet, like, Buzz Lightyear's my favorite character, and I meet him every trip over in Tomorrowland. He happens to be out on that stage all the time, and I just fly by. He points at me, I do a selfie, and I'm gone. You know, like, I don't have to wait 30 minutes. I'm just like,
right. Hey, I'm good. Let's go.
Got the picture. It's on Instagram. We're out of here. It's great for me. But it is kind of, you know, especially for a kid who's trying to meet a character, especially like a Mickey Mouse, something they see on TV that they feel like they have that relationship with the character. I mean, it's going to be challenging, but I mean, it is where we are.
It is
where
it
is. It is what it is right now, really, kind of thing. But it is where
yes.
But it's better than nothing. And it'll be interesting to see how these things roll out, because in the timing, we had this debate on the timing. You know, I hope it is. Again, this is me probably being optimistic. I'd like to see it happen around the time of the Wine and Dine Race weekend, because a lot of runners like to go to Town Square and get their pictures with Mickey with their medals. In a socially distant situation would be fine for that, right? To get to Town Square, hold your medal, Mickey's over your shoulder.
Yeah,
that'd be a lot of pictures there. And I mean, I don't see that there's a lot of prep to get this done. I mean, you know, everything's
Right.
there. I mean, and they've been doing socially distant meet and greets for a while. I mean, now they're just going to do them inside. I don't think it's something that would take like a month to put into place. It doesn't seem.
Yeah.
No, and I think it'll probably, if I had to guess just based off of, past, I would say it would be early November as well. Again, that's just a guess, but I would lean more towards that because, that just sounds like it makes sense in my eyes. So.
Anytime for the Christmas party too, like the holidays.
Oh yeah,
So that would be
absolutely.
like, they'd be like the first, second week in November. So we're really kind of in that, I'm guessing that first, second week in November.
Yeah.
See, Mitch has a question here in the live chat. Hey gang, I've got our week-long Polynesian trip coming up in 41 days. Aloha to you, Mitch. That's awesome. So far, I haven't had much luck getting ADRs that were in our list. I see join walk-up list at some restaurants in my Disney experience. Have any of you used this feature? We're hoping to still be able to go to some of our favorite restaurants on this trip, like Ohana and Sci-Fi Dine-In or 50s Prime Time. Hopefully guys have some ADR tips. Pam, what say you to getting in? I have not been able to get Sci-Fi for nothing. I tried this summer. I just cannot crack that nut on Sci-Fi for some reason.
I know it's interesting too, because some of the restaurants that are challenging to get right now are sometimes surprising. Haven't been that way in the past, but so there is a join walk-up list. And if you're going to try to do that, my best suggestion is to be there as soon as the restaurant opens for that meal. Because that's when you'll have the opportunity to join the walk-up list, if that will actually be available that day. And there are restaurants that sort of stagger when they open for different meals. So let's say, lunch closes at 3 and dinner starts at 4:30 or 5. You're going to want to be there a little bit before. Not only try to join the walk-up list using that function, but also ask the cast members that are there at the podium. Sometimes there may be a little different availability in that space, just because the cast member standing right there at the podium knows right then what is going on, as opposed to having it to be, tell the system that they're able to take walk-ups. And to even use the join walk-up list, you have to be within a certain vicinity of that restaurant. So don't think it works like some other functions in my Disney experience, and that you can do it from, when you're at Coronado and you're trying to do that at Hollywood Studios. It won't work for you.
Which can be a little frustrating when you want to join a walk-up and it says, oh, it's 50 minutes away. And you're like, I know I can get there in 50 minutes. I'm just not like right there.
Yeah.
Especially at a resort or something like that. That's when I've run into the issue. Is like, oh, I just want to join the walk-up. And then by the time that was me, I was at Pop Century and I was trying to get to a walk-up at Ale and Compass, but I was too far away even from there. And so like you have to be like right on it for basically for that walk-up to even exist. So just keep that in mind too. And
you do.
And
it does work.
It does.
I've seen people do it, and it does work. I mean, that's kind of like it's almost like your backup parachute. Like if you don't get it, you got a second shot. It's like a second chance lottery kind of thing.
Definitely not, like you said, during the peak times though. Like you want to go off peak, early meal or the later meal, like, a 9:00 dinner or something like that. You might be able to score it, but otherwise it's not going to be that, 6-7 o'clock meal. You're not going to find it.
Mm-mm.
Now, we'll say with Mitch staying at the Polynesian, if he wants to get in Ohana, go up to that hostess stand and let them know you're staying there right as the restaurant opens. And I would say that they could, maybe work something if you just, you're polite, you're a guest here, you love this restaurant, it's your favorite thing, it'll make or break a trip. I mean, just, how it works. Like, it might not work, but I mean, it never hurts. Tell them you're staying there. That's just a good tip. Okay, Jessica's got a question here for the BOGP crew. Hey, Mike, Ricky, and Pam, I'm sure that you will have tons of questions about Genie Plus and Lightning Lanes. So I hope you don't mind another one. I'm curious how things will work at 7 a.m. for on-site guests. It seems like there are a few things that happen at once. You can get a Remy's virtual queue. You can grab an individual Lightning Lane pass, and you can book your first Genie Plus ride. Is that correct? I look forward to you guys being in the parks and testing out these new systems for us so that by the time my trip comes around in April, thanks for helping me plan, Mike, we will know exactly what to do. Your loyal listener in Springfield, Virginia, Jessica. Yes, we'll be down there soon again to test these out. I'll be down in less than 3 weeks. And I told Scott, I'm all against these individual lightning lane things. I am cheap. But I told them I'm going to buy one just so I can practice it, just so I know what it feels like.
Right.
Because I'm cheap and I want to get my money's worth. So
Yes.
I'm doing it for everybody here. It's kind of against me because I'm super cheap. I'd wait forever to not spend $15 or whatever it costs. But I am going to do it so I can have the experience. Then I'll be screenshotting everything just so we can talk about it on the show. Yeah, it's going to be against, it's like me buying like an expensive souvenir, like a lightsaber or something. I want to, but it's against me. But anyway, yeah, it's what I stand for. But she's right. I mean, so Ricky, if you've been writing articles on this, so walk her through the 7 a.m. It sounds pretty intense. And
yes,
this will have started yesterday by the time the show comes out, day before.
Right. Yeah. So at 7 a.m., if you are staying on property, you have the ability to make a Remy reservation.
If you have a theme park reservation.
If you have an Epcot.
Yes. If you have an Epcot theme park reservation, yes. That also is the time for everyone else too. So not only those staying on property. I just wanted to, but if you are staying on property, you can do it too. If you're staying on property, you can do the 7 a.m. Lightning lane, or it's not lightning lane, individual attraction access attraction. And I don't know why they didn't give those a specific name, by the way. They gave everything else a specific name, but they didn't give that option a specific name. Boggles my mind, but that's okay. And then you can make your first Disney Genie Plus attraction reservation. Now, if you are not staying on property, you cannot make you cannot make an individual attraction access pass or a reservation for Disney Genie Plus until you get into the park. So just keep that in mind. So they are giving a little bit of a head start to those who are staying on property. And I would, as far as strategy goes, I mean, that is tough because, if you want to make sure that you see if you can get that Remy one and, you can't get that, but then you want to try for the lightning lane, that is tough. So I might try. Oh gosh. Would you guys try for the Remy virtual queue
I would
first?
try. So, so I'm assuming like your Epcot day, right? Because you have Epcot. This is like the day that it's going to be the most intense, right? You have an Epcot theme park reservation and you want to ride Remy. I would go for the Remy virtual queue first.
That's what I was thinking. Yes.
If it's super important to you, then I would buy the individual ride access.
Yes.
Second, immediately, depending on what my status is with the virtual queue. Or you could write it out and try to get the 1 o'clock one too. That's an option too, depending on how you want to roll.
Right.
You just have a lot of options. And then, go from Genie Plus from there.
Yes, that's what I would do. Now, Disney has said that they won't sell out of Genie Plus. Nope. So if you want to buy it all day, you can have the option to buy it all day. So now, again, if you're staying, I would always choose the individual attraction first. Then I would choose the Genie Plus options. That's going to be kind of what I would end up doing as far as making reservations go. That's just me.
It works. I mean, Pam, what are your thoughts on kind of this whole thing because the thing is, I mean, it sounds like, and I mean, this is kind of how blogs are going to get written if you want to get a lot of clicks, is that you will no longer be sleeping in on a Disney World vacation.
Exactly.
Like, everybody's got the 7 a.m. wake up call or the 6:45 wake up call at this point, which I get up early anyway, so it doesn't bother me too much, but it doesn't necessarily have to be every day. I mean, select days possibly. I mean, just give us a little thoughts on this whole thing.
Well, I think first of all, for most guests, you're going to want to add Disney Genie Plus to your package for all your days that you have tickets. I think that one is sort of a no-brainer, and I'll sort of explain why. Regardless of when you get up, it doesn't matter because it's like that whole thing, it's turning over every time, right? Mm-hmm. So the people who got up at 7 a.m. and made their reservations because they're staying on site, at 9 a.m. they have to go through the whole process again. Well, maybe you got up at 8 and you made yours then, or you're also doing it at 9. So you're in there with all those people. Don't think of it as the people who got up at 7 a.m. are all going to get all the Genie Plus selections for the whole day. That's just not how it's going to work. Yes. And it's just going to be, the FastPass system worked before. This is going to work this way. It sort of has a way of evening itself out, but it's just going to give you access to, I mean, literally for me, $15 to save, let's just say at minimum, how much time do you think you're going to save a day waiting in line? 2 hours?
I'd say, yeah. I would hope that conservatively 2 hours.
That's what I'm saying. Conservatively on a not busy day, I think even on not busy days, you're going to save 2 hours. It's totally worth the $15 for me to do that.
So $7.50 an hour. I mean, is your time worth on a Disney vacation with what you're paying per day? Is it worth $7.50 an hour if you break it down?
At minimum.
Yeah, at minimum. I totally agree. At minimum, you're saving 2 hours at minimum. And this is no official Disney anything, especially because it has not been released. This is just us pontificating, right? As frequent theme park visitors. The individual lightning lane is something that I may have on some days and I won't have on other days. And for me, that depends on a couple things. First of all, the park. Most of those attractions that are part of the individual lightning lane selections are going to be attractions that have a height requirement and or have the ability to cause some kind of motion sickness with some people. So that plays into it a little bit for me. It also plays into what I want to get accomplished that day. I will tell you, looking at that huge line or the huge list of attractions that are available with Genie Plus, if I go into a theme park that day and I get a lot of those attractions done, I'm going to feel like that was a day well spent at Disney, and I may not miss having to ride some of the things in the individual Lightning Lane attractions. Like, I don't have to do Seven Dwarfs anytime. There were times before that I didn't, and there will be times in the future where I don't. And it still was a really, really good day for me. Mm-hmm. So that's what it's going to depend on for me in that space. Genie Plus for me is sort of a no-brainer. It's just going to happen. And I think that's the case with so many guests. We've heard that from them already. They're interested in it. They want it. They want to add it to their package to know that they arrived there and they don't have to think about it every morning, right? Do I want to spend the money or do I not? They just want to add to their package, show up and be done. And I totally agree with that.
And the nice part is you don't have to add it every single day either. So if you want to.
Well, if you want to add it in advance, you do.
Yes, if you want. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, if you want to add it in advance, yes.
Yeah,
but
yes.
But if you are on the fly and you hadn't added it in advance, and you're just like, hey, you know what? I think I'd like to add Disney Genie Plus today. Mm-hmm. You can do that, which is really a nice perk as well.
I promise you, though, I'm not doing the individual pass thing for Space Mountain because every time I ride that thing, just by standby, I'm always like, why'd I ride this thing? Like, it kills me. It's still officially, it's still my favorite ride at Walt Disney World.
But it kills you.
But if I even pay extra to have that kind of pain, there's something wrong with my brain because I'm already
like you love it, but it does not love you.
Does not love me. I know, man. I get on that thing and like I'm going up the hill. I'm like, what am I doing? Like because like you crest that hill on Space Mountain. I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna be in pain for the next 2:30. Hold on. I kind of have fun, but I kind of don't. So I'm just like, I'm choking up right here just thinking about it. It hurts my back.
Oh my gosh.
So we'll have more, we'll be talking about this for months, but yeah, we'll be down there very soon. All of us getting, but I think we have a pretty good idea. And of course, I speak with guests daily that are down there right now. Our guests are constantly there getting feedback. We're talking about things. We'll have, next week we'll be talking about how things are working out. So don't stray. We'll get you set up for great success.
It will be okay.
It will be. Yes.
It's just the thing is, you're listening to a Disney podcast. You probably follow Disney Twitter. You're 95% ahead of the game already.
Absolutely.
You're way ahead of everybody else. I mean,
very much.
You're like, very much. Like everybody else is driving like a Volkswagen Beetle down the highway. You're in the Millennium Falcon already.
That's correct.
It's not even a fair race.
Okay. The only thing you have to do is not let the negative stuff impact you. Like compartmentalize. Like figure out how it's going to work for you.
Yes. And there are, like Mike said, there are so many people who will not know what Disney Genie Plus is or individual attraction access is until they even get in the park. And even then they may not still understand what it is. So, you're definitely ahead of the game. So
100%, even when
and they may still buy it at that point.
Yes. 100%. Even when there was Fast Pass and you had to engage with My Disney Experience to set up your Fast Pass ahead of time, I would sit in meetings with Disney and be blown away at the percentages they were telling us of people who did not engage with My Disney Experience prior to their arrival. Yeah. And if they didn't engage, it means they weren't making Fast Pass reservations. So it's crazy, people. So yeah.
Yeah.
And you got this. We got this, people.
And like we said, Disney Genie Plus is going to work a little bit like Fast Pass. Those times are going to roll over. you remember the Fast Pass game I played before where I would, go on the app and be like, okay, I can make a Fast Pass now. And I would make it for whatever next attraction it was.
Yep. 2 hours later.
Yeah. Not even, right now. I would do that.
Yes.
The same thing is going to be true.
The next
for
available time sometimes will be right now.
Exactly. So you can play the Disney Genie Plus game, and it'll work just like. So you're not going to be like shut out of getting fast passes, or I guess I should say, Disney Genie Plus passes. You're still going to be able to get them even throughout the day.
Remember back in the day, like setting the alarm on my Nokia phone because I get that paper fast pass.
Yes.
Say either when you redeem this one or like at 10:17 because I got the first one like 8:17 or something or like 7:17. I forgot what the window was, but like I would type that in my phone, and as soon as like that window opened up, it go and I'd be like going to get to that time, get a 5-minute head
Let's
start.
go.
Yeah, back to those days. But you don't have to do the running this time. So
no, you don't.
Okay. Diane's asking real quick. So what does that mean for Epcot on a race day? Do I pray to be done by running by 7? Again, we just kind of talked about that. You're not in competition. Like you're not going to be behind. Just when you finish the race, make that first one and you're good to go. You don't have to
do it during the race. Pull out your phone.
There you go.
No, enjoy the race. No, don't do it during the race. No. You're paying too much for those races. Don't be worried about that stuff.
Diane.
Seriously.
7 o'clock. Pull it out.
Yeah, no. Don't. If people start pulling out their phones at 7 a.m., I'm gonna swipe those out of your hand. Don't do that. Enjoy the moment. You've trained all this time. Don't be doing that. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that. That has hurt me.
I did say it.
Please got a
I meant it.
Oh my gosh. Was considering doing Chef Mickey's for breakfast on my Epcot day. Eat breakfast and take the monorail to Epcot. Good idea, bad idea. I say good idea.
Yeah, you just have to have a late breakfast because Epcot doesn't open until 11.
10, I think.
I think it's pushing earlier now.
Oh yeah, you're right. It is.
I think it's 10.
Earlier.
I think it's 10. Yeah.
So make sure that you're going to do that. But other than that, I think it's a great day.
You know what though? Here's my hack. And I came up with this like 5 years ago. For Chef Mickey's, I do it on a Magic Kingdom day. Now here's why. I'll schedule it for like 10:30. Okay, so follow me here. This is high value. You go to the Magic Kingdom like at 8 when it opens, but you got to have like a Pop-Tart or something light in your room. Okay. For everybody. So everybody gets like a Pop-Tart or Rice Krispie treat. You take that, you eat that on the bus, just enough to get you through. Like you do like 2 hours of the Magic Kingdom. You get so much done in those first 2 hours at Rope Drop. Then you go over to Chef Mickey's and have a late breakfast and you just like tear it up because like it's still breakfast. It's almost like a brunch at this point. You're starving because you've been going for 2 hours. Forget lunch, man. You're not even eating again until dinner and you're getting your money's worth. I'm just saying that's kind of a hack there.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm saying.
I'm impressed by that. Yeah.
We just did that one time because we couldn't get an ADR except for like at 10:30. And it was like, oh my gosh, we're doing this all the time now. So that's what we did. Okay. Ben Harris has a thought here. My view on Lightning Pass is I will for sure do it when we go. My wife won't ride a lot of rides. So for example, we go to Animal Kingdom. Let's see. My wife won't go on Flight of Passage. My daughter is too small, so I can pay $15 to skip the queue or queue up for 2 to 3 hours on my own away from my family. I know what I'll be doing. That's a great point right there. That I mean, if the rest of his family is not going to go, do you want to stay away from your family for 2 hours to ride flight, or are you just gonna $15? Boom, you're in, you're out, and you're riding your ride. That's a great use right there, and you only got to pay for one.
Agreed.
That is. So
yeah.
Good job, Ben.
Diane's killing me. Diane. She's going to be on her phone doing
She's going to be on her phone. You're going to have to smack it out of her
I'm going to find you on that course. No. Stop. It's hurting me.
Diane, I'd be doing it too. I'd be on my phone too.
Oh my gosh.
It's like a couple minutes.
Okay. Don't trip though, please. Don't get about getting hurt. Okay. Let's see here. We got a question from Bill from Maryland. Hey, Mike and crew. My family and I are headed down to Walt Disney World Sunday with 2 first-timers. One is a big Star Wars fan, so I have him covered with Hollywood Studios. The other, not so much. I know he likes boats, so I was wondering what is the best way to get from Shades of Green to Disney Springs by boat. We have a reservation at Splitsville Monday night. None of us have ever been there before. Is this a good option for picky eaters? I really enjoy listening to your show. You guys do a great job with all the information, and it's really helped planning this trip. Bill in Maryland. I think we might have answered this question, but I can't remember. It sounds familiar, but maybe it came in twice.
I don't remember it. So
maybe not. Maybe because we have a revolving cast of characters except for me. So it could have been.
This is true.
Anyway,
you might have just read the email. Who knows? Yeah.
So that's a good idea. You got Star Wars fan, Studios, perfect.
Studios,
Edge, everything there. Get around to a wrap. They're awesome. But Shades of Green to Disney Springs by boat.
Yeah. You're going to,
there is no
You'd
There's
have
no
to.
direct way. I mean, but if you want to get a
No.
boat, taste of the boat, like this person, I guess is they like to be on boats.
There's not really a great way to do this. Just honestly, there isn't. Because Shades of Green has its own transportation system.
Yes.
That does not include the boats.
Right.
Well, okay, here's what I would do. What if you just take the bus to Disney Springs?
Well, that's what I was thinking.
And then you take a boat from Disney Springs up over the Port Orleans, just down to Riverside or something.
You can do that, ride it there.
That's what I was
back.
thinking.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
That's what I would do.
That's
yeah.
Or if you wanted to be, a big spender, you could do one of the Amphicars, which is kind of cool too. So.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that is a good suggestion for sure.
Remember back when this show started and Ricky was cheap? She's like, she's really corner.
Yeah, you know what? My fiscally responsible husband.
Yeah.
Remember when I used to call him that? I don't know. He actually convinced me. He convinced me to buy the 50th anniversary dress. So I bought the dress. I'm just saying, I spent the money and bought the dress this weekend because he's like, you can get the dress now. I was like,
you mean the one that's got because I think I got the shirt. I got the like bowler shirt. Like it's
the
kind of like purpley blue.
Purple, blue, and gold.
That. We'll be matching.
Yeah, we can match. Mike and I will look like a couple of them. Please don't wear your shirt on the same day that I'm there. Just don't. Yeah.
Doing it. Yes.
Yes.
I brought it home. I showed my wife. I was like, "You like this shirt?" She said, "No."
No. Oh.
She said, "Don't wear that shirt." She didn't like it. I know. She was.
Brian loves it. Brian loves it. Yeah.
She did not want me to wear that shirt for some reason. So I haven't worn it yet, but I figured, because I told her, I'm like, this is a great cruise shirt. Like it's a button up. It's got collar.
Yes.
It's like thin. I mean, it looks kind of dressy. I'm wearing that on a cruise. Whatever.
You definitely should wear that on the cruise.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Shirt for sure. I mean,
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. So my fiscally responsible husband convinced me to do that. I'm just saying.
She didn't see it on me.
That's right.
On me.
That's the difference.
That's the difference. All right,
the white skinny jeans.
Yes.
You know what? Those things totally disappeared. They're gone. And one guess what happened to those skinny jeans. She threw those things out. She took them to Goodwill. I have not.
Oh, you'll have to buy another pair.
I'll just go back to my orders on Amazon. I'll find some.
Yeah, exactly. Our next cruise, you'll have to have them.
All right, last question coming over from Portsmouth, UK. It's from Mark. Good morning, Mike. Just listened to your 50th anniversary podcast. Loved it. Thank you. The ride I would bring back would be Horizons. I loved Epcot. Remember that ride very well. Still watch the walkthrough on YouTube. Will they ever, do you think, bring back that style of ride? With all the new IPs, I'm not so sure. And all the other questions for the three of you would be your favorite item you've ever bought at Walt Disney World. For example, teas, mugs, etc. Mine is an Epcot 82 number plate. It's not the most expensive, but I love it. I really want to bring that monorail set back to the UK, but put that sucker under the Christmas tree. Take care, y'all. Enjoy the 50th without us poor old UK guests. Regards, Mark over in the UK. Hey, good news. Our friends from the UK, you guys are going to be joining us here soon. And our folks from Canada and Mexico and all the place. We're so glad to have you back. Because I'll be honest, Walt Disney World to me is about the international guests. It's about our friends from all over the States. But it just isn't the same without that just feel of everybody coming together from all over the world. So it'll be so glad to have our friends back from all over the world. That news is great. So let's keep these things going in the right direction. So real quick, Pam, could Disney ever bring something back like Horizons, or are we just too easily like distracted and can't take anything that's slow anymore? I mean, is our society like too TikTok anymore? I mean, is that what's up now?
I think that I will be honest, during Horizon's last days before they announced the closure, and the World of Motion too was sort of in that same vein. There were a few things. They were not that heavily attended, I will say. Not too many people there. It was, I remember doing some of those, one of the first times I took Steve, and it was like me and Steve on the attraction. Like it was just so not, and I think he was like, like, why are we riding this one? But anyways, I'm sure at this point he's glad that he had the chance.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I think that, so many of us remember those with a nostalgic vein. We think about that and remember it being there. I wonder though, if it was better in our memory than it was in person, right? We have a way of sort of romanticizing all of that. So I don't know, the pendulum sways back and forth, but I think that Walt Disney was so focused on always moving forward that it's very infrequent that Disney chooses to go back like that, just because it's just not part of their company. It's not really what they're doing. But hopefully they'll find ways to sort of combine that to make attractions that people that have that nostalgic, that wish for that, enjoy, and new folks do as well. Because if I think about some of the newer attractions that have been brought on board, I really like it. I mean, I think that Remy is really cute. It's something that the whole family can enjoy together. That's something that even if it is a movie that is a Disney movie, I think that that's something that probably so many of us can enjoy together. And I think that's what I'm really looking for in an attraction. Something that I can enjoy with family, with friends, and sort of span those ages. So
Grandma can ride in the back seat.
Exactly.
Flipped upside down. And I'm getting to that age, so I appreciate that as well. Okay, real quick. So we've gone into the Disney Vault, right? I mean, they've really kind of done some cool stuff with the vault, the thermoses, the lunch boxes, the old ashtrays. I mean,
what are you talking about, Mike? That is not an ashtray.
It is
but
an ashtray.
It is an ashtray because I have the
little,
original
plates and stuff like that. What is one thing in your collection though from over the years that you have that you like that you've kept? Like for me, probably my most cherished, like over the past time that I've been going to Walt Disney World. It's not something I bought, but it's my Mickey ears that I got for my first marathon when they first started giving those out in 2018. It wasn't my first marathon, that was 2015, but they surprised us at the finish line in 2018 with those. I think they were leftover ears from the Disneyland 50th or something. They're the 60th. I think that those blue ones with the silver ears, but they're awesome. And we didn't get ears before that. I got more excited for the ears than the metal. So that's my probably most prized possession as far as souvenir wise. So I know you're not a big collector, Pam, but is there something over the years that's special to you as far as something you've kept?
There is. So I have a signed print from Disneyland too. One of them is something from Club 33 that I purchased there. It's Walt sitting in Club 33 and looking down on the that area right there, New Orleans Square. I really just like that idea that Walt, enjoyed the parks and did look at them and see them at different things. So I love that idea. And I have another signed print that was from Jane Wooster Scott, which is actually of Disneyland as well. It sort of shows Disneyland, but in a way that unless you're really looking at it, you don't notice that it is Disneyland. It's just in that style, that sort of that primitive style of painting. And I've had it reframed a few times to continue to match our decor, but I love those pieces. They're just, part of our house, and I'll never have a house that doesn't have both of them. So
there you go. And you have a little decorating to do here shortly around Thanksgiving. All right, Ricky, what about you? Like, what's something that you treasure from your history with the parks?
It's tough because I bring home different things for different reasons.
Is it the flying tire behind you? Could it be?
I do love the flying tire. I did not get that at Disneyland though. I got that at the outlets.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I mean that makes sense, right? Honestly, I do love my dresses. Those are definitely one of the things that I love. I get a coffee mug from every single Disney theme park or resort that I've visited. Meaning like when I went to Aulani, I have an Aulani mug. I have, the Paris mug. I have Walt Disney World mugs, Disney Cruise Line ones. When I go to Disneyland here in a couple of weeks, I'll grab a Disneyland one because I don't have one of those. So those are like things that come home with me every time. Behind me, I have a bunch of things that are really cool because they're from the places that I've been. So I have like the London Mickey that's behind me. That's actually from the London store. Then there's the New York Minnie. She's from actually the New York store. So like, and there's stuff from Aulani. So like, I like those kind of things just to remind me that I've been to those places, and that I got to have those experiences. So, those are kind of like my favorite things. I always try to grab one little souvenir type thing from each location that I visit, as well as grab a mug, because I use my coffee mugs every single day. So
there you go. Yeah. And I always have my smuggled pine cone from Pop Century and Hurricane Charlotte. I snuck
out. Oh, that's true.
Over there. Yeah, it's a big.
That's true.
It's
yeah.
Good shape.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really good. Now, one of the things that I do have that I do treasure is I do have a light bulb from the Osborne Family Spectacle
I have
lights.
one of those on a Christmas ornament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won one of those at Indie Disney Meet. A couple, one of the first years that we ended up going. So I have that, and I think that that's really cool.
I miss the Osborne lights.
I
They're
know.
so awesome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Right now, real quick. Would you trade Galaxy's Edge for Osborne lights? Pam? No deal. Ricky,
No deal.
deal or no deal?
Oh gosh, that is tough. I know.
Show, but I just
it's tough for me because I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. So
okay. There's no wrong answer here.
There's a wrong answer.
There's a wrong answer. I know.
I love Christmas lights though. I
do too, but Rise of the Resistance is a really good
Rise is very okay. Can we move Rise to another park and then put that
I know.
and then put it like, can we move that like to a different part of the park, put it somewhere else, and then put the lights back up?
Oh man. Oh, I miss those lights so much because I have so many pictures of like podcast meetups in those lights that pop up like starting this time of year. Like on
I know, me too.
I mean, the lights were fantastic, and I love them as well. But I'm not giving up Galaxy's Edge for it.
Yeah, probably not. No deal. Oh,
no deal.
It's like
I say deal, but you know me, I don't have like a Star Wars.
Oh yeah, back when that show used to be on Ice, you used to yell at those people like, "You're so greedy! I hope you lose." You have $100,000. You know how hard you have to work for $100,000. They're handing you $100,000. You're saying no deal. I hope you get nothing. So anyway,
wow.
Well, I know. I mean, we got to get this show closed up because we're going to be back together tomorrow with a replay of the Sunday Night Live show with Scott, and then Friday we're going to be back together talking about all the fun stuff that Pam did on her trip that she's just back from, and Ricky did the Boo Bash this past weekend and some other stuff. So we'll be talking about that as well. But don't forget, in the meantime, today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel, as always. I mentioned this at the top of the show. 2023 itineraries for the early season are out right now. So if you'd like to sail with Disney Cruise Line, it's a great time to get back out there. Well, I mean, it's early 2023, so it's still a little bit out there. I mean, you're not going to be getting back out there immediately, but hey, you can. If you want to book for next month, we can do that too. But right now is a great time to book those early 2023 itineraries. Lots of staterooms available, best prices. And the best part about it is when you book with the Magic for Less, you can get a great onboard credit that spends just like cash on your sailing. Buy some drinks for the bar, go on and port adventure, buy some, rent that paddle board at Castaway Key for everybody. I'm telling you, it's hard, but it's fun. Whatever you want to do with it, it's yours to have some fun with. But drop by the Magic for Less Travel, fill out that quote form, fill out some dates, itineraries you might want to go on. Of course, Walt Disney World, Disneyland Adventures by Disney as well. And we'll take great care of you. So check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link as you start shopping for the holiday season. The one extra click really does mean a lot to us. It's over at beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you to our patrons who allow us to keep putting this show out 3 to 4 times a week all around the world. Couldn't do it without you. And our patrons get a 5th show called Mike in the Midwest every Thursday. If you want to become a patron yourself, just visit patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give us a follow on social media, Instagram and Twitter at beourguestmike and at beourguestpod. And of course, Ricky's at Ricky Nibs, Pam's at TMFLT Pam. Subscribe to the show on Facebook and YouTube as well, so you know when we go live. And one extra thing this week, if where you get the show, where you subscribe to the show has ratings and reviews, we'd sure appreciate it if you would leave a 5-star review, because we've been doing the show for over 13 years. Sometimes those ratings and reviews expire like old milk when we've been around as long as us. We're not the new and the hottest thing out there lately, because we've been doing this forever. So if you haven't left a review in the last decade, star rating, we'd sure appreciate that. So if you have a few minutes this week, please do that if you have the time. We'd sure be appreciative. All right, we'll be back again on Friday with another fresh Be Our Guest podcast right here for your feed. But until then, for Ricky and Pam, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Wednesday. Time to get back to work, and we'll see you real soon. Save that one.
Sorry, I had to go cough.
Cool. What? Episode 1983. Edited. Cool. I'm usually starving, and I'm not starving, which is good. Chili.
You're chilly.
Dude, so much chili. And
you had chili?
oh my God, I've had so much chili in the last
Oh,
24 hours. Pam made
nice.
this vat of chili, and I had it for dinner last night. I made chili cheese burritos. I had it for lunch today. I had an extra bowl at lunch. I shouldn't have. I'm so. And the stupid thing
Mike
is
thinking about his chili choices.
Yeah. It's not good.
That's not good.
It is
That's
not good.
good.
All right. So we'll talk about your stuff. We'll talk about Space 220. All right, here we go. So what other things? Well, I'll just ask you during the show. It's fine. Like we haven't done this before. All right. 1980.
Cruise. I want to mention a little something about cruise.
About your cruise you went on? Your B2B?
Cruises.
B2B? Okay, here we go. Welcome to episode 1985 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Friday to you. Hope you're having a great start to your weekend because, yes, the weekend does start as soon as this podcast hits your feed. That's what I say, and that's what we're going to go with. So late Thursday night, you know what? We just pack in Fridays. You go into work, you go to school. If you're a student, you got to take those tests. You got to give a good effort. But, if as a teacher, if my kids gave a good effort, Friday afternoons, I pulled out a movie. It's kind of how, I don't know if that stuff still works. That's how it used to work when I was teaching. Probably doesn't work anymore, but hey, I'm old school. So and my kids got good grades and I was always evaluated well. So, hey, that's how the stuff we used to work. And I know your boss is out there, but you just do a good job, get your work done and move on. It's a weekend. So let's have some fun talking Disney and have a good time here. And joining me, the crew, the OG crew again, 2 shows in a row. You can't beat it. Joining us from down in Georgia, and you catch her hanging out at the mouseforless.com. Again, dressing up for Boo Bashes all around the world. We have Ricky. What's up, Ricky?
You know what? I am getting ready for the Halloween season, which is, obviously been here for a while for a lot of people because, pumpkin spice is everywhere. But, we're getting closer here because the weather is starting to turn a little bit. So, it's when it changes from 80 degrees to, 70s and 60s, you start to feel that fall feeling. So this week I've got that fall feeling going and it's okay.
Pretty sweet. Okay. We're at 1985 episode today. So I'm pulling out the question. What's your favorite? You got to pick one 80s song, your go-to 1980s tune.
Oh,
I know that's from when you were a baby. So
yeah,
it's kind of hard for you.
Okay. I got one.
An 80s song.
I got one.
Okay, go ahead.
I think I have to go with Thriller. So
that's especially this time of year, thematic.
Yeah, especially this time of year. Yeah. I always bust it out. So I'm gonna go with Thriller. Okay.
That's a solid choice. any MJ, good choice.
All right.
Yeah, okay,
All right.
I'll take it. All right. Also joining us with the co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel, Pam Forrester. Pam, happy Friday and almost happy Halloween. What's going on?
Happy Friday and happy Halloween. And when you asked Ricky about the 80s song, I was like, oh man.
No, seriously.
What am I going to do? Right? What am I going to say? But you know what? I think Take On Me. I think that song, right? It was just so classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So that's my 80s song, for sure. But I'm looking forward to talking today about everything that we did, but I'm looking forward to hearing about Ricky's experience from Boo Bash too, especially as we get so close here.
It is. We're getting close. We're here at the Halloween season.
So I know.
Remember when it started in August and we're like, oh my gosh, Halloween. Now it's here.
Yeah.
My song, by the way, is going to be "Don't Forget About Me" from Breakfast Club. By the way, but
that's
okay. Excellent choice. Yeah. You mean from Pitch Perfect, right? I'm just teasing. I
have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, and today again, another Bones Day. Just so every day is Bones Day when you get to do a Be Our Guest podcast. So
that's good. Also, that's the other song from Pitch Perfect, not Take On Me. Sorry, my bad.
Whatever. Okay, so let's talk about it. All right, so Pam, I guess we're going to start with Ricky at Boo Bash. Okay, so you went down this past weekend. So about 1 week ago, as the show comes out.
Yes.
I guess Boo Bash was the goal of this trip. right?
It was the goal of this trip, yes. So I bought tickets when they went on sale, and they sold out immediately. So I was glad to have bought them. Boo Bash, obviously I've done Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party in the past, and I kind of wanted to see how it compared to the Boo Bash.
That was going to be my number one question, because that's what I've gotten from guests at the Magic for Less, that were kind of like, I've done I can't, because Boo Bash is kind of expensive. Is it?
It is.
I've been to the Halloween party, and it seems like the Halloween party has more, and I'd like a comparison. So there you go. Let's
it does. So okay. The Boo Bash, I think Disney realized that the Boo Bash was a little light on activities, because when they announced the Christmas party, they literally have thrown everything in the kitchen sink at it. Granted, they added an extra $100 for them to throw everything in the kitchen sink at it, but that's basically what they did. So they took what they learned from this, and I don't know if it was because, when this got announced, COVID was still really, 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 really prevalent, and, people not everyone had gotten, vaccines yet and stuff like that. So I don't know if, that was part of it or what. I would have liked for them to have done a little goodwill after the fact, even though they had sold the party out. I would have liked that, once they started like bringing back the fireworks, I would have been like, it would have been nice if they had said, and guess what? We are bringing fireworks back for the Boo Bash.
I thought that was a little strange that they couldn't have done a fireworks show for
yeah, exactly. Or, we know we've been doing cavalcades, but, we'll pull out the full parade for, for this. It made things a little segmented. So I liked how they did. Let's go back. So you can't get in. The other difference is you cannot get in until 7:00. The party doesn't start till 9:00. That's another drawback, I feel like, for these after-hour parties, because those 2 hours made a huge difference in what we could accomplish, what we could get done. Even with the lesser number of things to do, I still don't feel like we got to do as much as we had wanted to do. Does that make sense? We took advantage of all of the treat stations, and we saw all the cavalcades, we saw the cadaver dance, but I felt like we were always catching up behind the 8 ball, on it. So, and we got lots of popcorn and ice cream. But again, I always felt like we were a little bit behind the 8 ball. So, we got there just a little after 7, and after having dinner at Whispering Canyon. And as soon as we walked in, I know, great choice, right?
Man,
as soon as
you just don't want to go into that full, but go ahead.
I know that was hard, but we needed to eat something too. So we're like, okay.
I get it.
Brian just got nachos though at Whispering Canyon, which was a good choice because
Brian's a smart dude.
Brian was a smart man. Yeah, exactly. So as soon as we walked in, they were getting ready for the fireworks because the fireworks started at 8. So everybody was already crammed in on Main Street USA. So we decided to take the path, around. And we found a spot that was kind of in that alleyway that's behind where we could see the fireworks. So we could see Disney Enchantment. We didn't have a full front view, but we could at least see the fireworks, hear the music and things like that. So I did get to see Disney Enchantment that way. It was not crowded where we stood, which was nice. That part was made me feel a lot better, that it wasn't like everybody cramped around me. So that was good. And then as soon as the party started, we immediately went toward Adventureland, because everybody had gone toward Tomorrowland. So we originally went toward Tomorrowland, and we're like, no, let's go back the other way. So we went toward Adventureland. There was nobody in Adventureland. So that was handy. So we toured around that way around the park. Like I said, the actual cavalcades, they did them like segmented. So they would do one cavalcade. The best cavalcade out of all of them, I feel like, as far as bang for your buck, getting the most out of your time that you spend, was the Mickey one, because that had, the Mickey and Minnie in it, but it also had characters that were in Boo to You before. So it had the Greg Diggers, and it had, they weren't like dragging, anything with them. I know, Boo, exactly.
That's the best part.
Yeah, I know. And they had some other like characters that were, in the parade. So I feel like that was probably like the best one that they had.
Tell me they didn't have that cow singing.
They did not. You're good. You're good.
Okay. You know what? That's an improvement to the party right there.
It's definitely an improvement. Yes. And then they had, like, you waited about 10 minutes or so, and then they brought out the next cavalcade. So that one was the Disney Villains one. And then that passed, and then you waited another 10 minutes, and then that was the Nightmare Before Christmas cavalcade, and then you waited another 10, and that went by really fast, you know, and then there was another cavalcade and 10 minutes later, and that was the Maleficent one. So like, you're spending a good chunk of time just waiting for the cavalcades that last, you know, once they get to you, you know, they last a whole like minute, you know, 2 minutes or something like that. So like, I feel like there was a lot of time waiting for that, you know, and with the parade, yes, it's longer, but it's like, you know, it happens in a 10-minute span or so, 15-minute span. So I feel like time-wise, it was way too stretched out for the cavalcades.
Do you think Disney's goal though was to have people stay for like all of them, or was it in segments because you were just supposed to catch out when
I think originally you were supposed to do it that way,
everybody
but
was like wanting to see all of them, so
everybody was wanting to see all of them, so they just stayed there. And when you schedule them 10 minutes apart from each other,
it's like, yeah, we're already here kind of thing.
Exactly. And we hung out in Frontierland to see the cavalcades, because and so we were able to catch the Cadaver Dans, which were also performing right there too. So like it all happened and that was the best spot for it, because like it literally all was happening in, you know, an hour time span, but that took up a whole hour, you know, just waiting. It was like start stops, you know. So I didn't love that aspect of it. And I know I waited a long time for the parade before, but just that's the time length that it took to do all the cavalcades, I thought was way too long. So you know, I'm glad they're bringing back the parade for the after hours Christmas event, because I think that's a much better idea to just show the whole parade.
It's progression. You know, we're going from no parades to parades, and that's
to parades.
You got to go from here to there. Yep.
Exactly. So we definitely stocked up on popcorn. I may or may not have brought plastic bags with me to put popcorn in.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
I saw your Cape May cinnamon roll in your purse. So yeah.
I also did that, and then Daisy found the cinnamon roll when I got home, so she may have eaten some of it. But anyway, so I definitely got lots of popcorn. We got you know, lots of bottled waters to take with us. My book bag. I brought a book bag.
Bam, she went to the grocery store basically.
I did. I went to the grocery store.
I'm like,
this is making me nervous. I know, seriously.
I brought a book bag. I threw that stuff all in the book bag. And then I did not take home ice cream bars. I figured that might get a little messy, but you know, we stopped for that.
Yes, it's a good idea.
As far as ride wait times, you know, most of them were pretty decent, you know, 5 minutes or so. The long ones were, of course, the Haunted Mansion, which was about 35 minutes. And I believe Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which was probably close to the same amount of time. And again, if you waited in those two lines, you know, you've spent a good amount of time at the Boo Bash waiting in those lines, because those were long the whole time. They did have like the Madame Renata was out in front of the Haunted Mansion though, so it was nice to see like that kind of character out there, you know, improvising with guests. They said they were supposed to have a dance party in Tomorrowland, but that was not happening. They said that was supposed to happen all night. There was no dance party when that was in the Times Guide or the map, and there was nothing there. So I was a little surprised about that. And then as far as the trick-or-treat stations, they were good. They were pretty plentiful. I don't feel like they're giving out as much candy this year, though. I feel like, especially, I know. I came home. My bag was like, I had the regular, you know, the Disney bag, you know, that they give you.
Yeah.
And it wasn't full at all. And we went to all the treat stations.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, even at the end of the night, like that was the last thing we did, was we were booking it to hit the 2 treat stations that we didn't get to. And, you know, you'd think, oh, it's the end of the night, they'll just load me up. No, they just gave you 1 handful and that was it. Like, I was like, really? You're not even going to like load me up here? You're just going to just give me the 1 handful and that be that?
Because they knew you were smuggling bottled water. They had
yeah, exactly. I know, right? Yeah. So that was interesting. I was very surprised with that. And then another big surprise, overall, I did have a good time at the event. I dressed up as Cruella de Vil. I had a fantastic time. So many people were like, oh my gosh, it's Cruella, you know, so that was really cool. I didn't see as many people dressed up in like elaborate costumes either this year. I feel like, you know, there were a lot of Disney bounding. But I didn't see like, you know, at Mickey's Not So Scary, I saw, you know, we'd see lots of elaborate costumes. I didn't feel like I saw a lot of those either. But I had a good time. I think though, I would rather do Mickey's Not So Scary overall. You know, if they brought back the Boo Bash, Next year, I don't know if I would do it. I think Brian and I had talked about it. We would do it like an every other year thing or something like that at that point. Because we really do like Mickey's Not So Scary. I would absolutely bump the time up. I would give guests at least another hour for that event, because just the 3 hours that we had, they were simply not enough. And the other thing that really surprised me was the fact that at the end of the night, they were done. Like when it hit midnight, everything was closed, which I feel like in the past when I've gone to Mickey's Not So Scary, the shops I feel like have been open. They definitely have PhotoPass photographers out. There were no PhotoPass photographers. They actually were they shut off the line, and I tried to get in line at the end of the night and they're like, no, line's closed. So I was surprised about that as well. Just those are a few things that I kind of noticed from the Boo Bash. It was a good event. I had a good time. Like I said, it was just in a way, very different than, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. And I think that they are absolutely rectifying those things with the Christmas party, except for the time thing. Given how much trouble I had with time at this event, time length of everything, I think the Christmas party is going to go by even faster. So make sure you have a plan for the Christmas party if you're going. And by plan, I mean, decide what is very, very important to you, the most important to you, and go from there. So if the rides and going on those at a lower wait time are the important thing, then make sure you hit those up. If it's seeing all the Christmas stuff and that's the whole point of going, make sure you do that first thing. And that's your plan. If it's getting all the treats that you want and all the popcorn and all that, make sure that's your plan. But like, go in and know, like, okay, this is the plan. And really, I would pick 1 or 2. I wouldn't try to cram it all in, because you're not going to have enough time to do everything at that party. I can guarantee it. So,
well, my advice too for folks going to the Christmas party is that if you are going to the Christmas party, skip all the attractions that night.
Yes,
just do the Christmas stuff, and then if you are lucky enough to have a second day at the Magic Kingdom, have Genie Plus in your back pocket, and you can get so many attractions done at that point, with
that's
wait times. And just because, I mean, something's got to give. I mean, because you're right. I mean, even when you went to Mickey's Not So Scary or Mickey's Very Merry, when you had like a 6 hour, I think it was like a 5 hour window, like 7 to midnight or whatever it was, that time was like, boom, it was like light speed.
It went by fast too, but this went by
blink.
This went by even faster. So I would like to see them, if they keep up with the after hours events for the holidays, I would like to see them add at least an extra hour to it, because it just went by way, way too fast.
And that labor's got to be playing into that. I mean, I hate to, give Disney an out, but I mean, everything right now is labor. I mean,
well, yeah, but they closed I mean, I get that. I don't know if it's they're trying to make it fit more fair for day guests, because they did get kicked out at 7 o'clock before, so that kind of stunk too. So that's what I'm saying. Like, even if they had the close at 8 o'clock, I still feel like adding that extra hour would be a big help. Like that way they can have a happy medium for both sides. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So both sides get something out of it.
I mean, they were trying to come up with a way to have this party.
Yeah. And Aaron, if you want to see pictures of me dressed as Cruella, they are on the podcast Instagram as well as my own Instagram. So there are pictures.
Cool. There. So no Boo to you, but Boo Bash.
Boo Bash.
2021. Yes. And hopefully Mickey's Not So Scary will be back next year.
Hopefully, yes.
Sounds like that is the superior product, which I mean it is, because it's the thing that's been tweaked for a decade, right?
Longer.
Well, longer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a more refined product that people know what to expect.
Yes.
It's not more to. I mean, let's face it. It's got Halloween. Back in the day, Hallowishes and those beloved things. There's probably some of the 2 most beloved things. And of course, the Hallowishes got changed.
Yes,
you forget about all that stuff before COVID, but it was other show. But we'll hope it comes back. That'd be cool if they brought back Hallowishes. I mean, just come on.
Yeah, they won't do that. But I have seen the other show, because I saw it before the year that they released it, which was the year before COVID. And that show's cute. It's Minis. Yeah, I forget what the full name is.
Okay, let me throw it over to Pam, because I've been talking sea breezes and portholes.
Yes.
Verandas. And Pam just did a little thing called a back-to-back cruise. It's a cruise line. And I got to go out to sea. So I want to hear about Pam's cruise. So Pam, talk to us about that a little bit.
I did. So I was fortunate enough to do 2 Disney cruises back-to-back cruising, because the cruises out of Port Canaveral right now are shorter to try to comply with all those restrictions and things like that. So And I also wanted to see how they were handling sort of the back-to-back thing, because it's a great option if you're looking for a longer cruise, right? Just do back-to-back cruising. You know that Mike went on the cruise recently, and we've talked about some of the things that they have in place for you prior to the cruise. But I will say, leading up to this, I thought it was going to be a lot more rigmarole than it actually was. What I will tell you is, if you're preparing to go on a cruise, the things that you're going to want to have ready to do during your online check-in process is to, of course, have your ID available to scan and upload. Have your vaccination cards available to scan and upload. And you'll do that as part of the process. The actual testing that's done at the port for guests is pretty much a non-issue. It is easy as can be. The way that you get your results back really quickly, and you're on the ship like you were before. The one thing I will caution about is, for cruising, they are being very strict with your port arrival times, and that's for a number of different reasons. They don't want everyone showing up at the same time, because that makes for a situation that they just can't handle. They can't get people, they can't deal with that number of people all at once. They scatter them throughout that time, but everyone is getting on the ship fairly early. So it was a really, really simple process. Disney Cruise Line did a great job. Throughout everything, we felt we felt like they were observing all the protocols they had in place. Everyone was complying with it. But the thing I was most relieved about is how normal it felt. Right. How normal it felt to be there, how I enjoyed the things I always had, how it felt like cruising again. And it felt like one of the more normal things that I've done in the past 18 months or so. And Mike, you probably felt the same way. It just felt good.
I totally did. And it was the thing that I noticed, and it's very similar to when we went down to Walt Disney World in the late summer of 2020, when the parks had reopened and people were kind of starting to get that, we're back, and it felt great. And the thing that I noticed was that, especially the folks on Cruise Line, even more than when I was at World, was that they were so excited to be back on their ships doing their jobs and to have guests to serve that. I mean, I've always said that my favorite Disney vacation is a Disney cruise. I love going to Walt Disney World. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I love running the races. I love the places at Walt Disney World, the people. But I mean, a Disney cruise, you go to different places every morning. You wake up somewhere that's tropical. Like you're doing crazy stuff in the clubs and the restaurants. It's just wild. It's fun. And the service is unmatched on a Disney cruise. And the thing is they find these cast members, these servers in the restaurants, these bartenders, these folks that are, stateroom attendants, they're just so excited to be back and doing their thing. And, it was great before, but I mean, in August when I was on the ship, I mean, it was over the top, and I was excited for them, and it made me excited to be back on those ships. It felt so good.
Yeah, I know. That's really how I felt too. In some ways, this was one of the best cruises I've ever taken. And, some of that has to do with the reduced capacity and the number of guests that are there. Some of that is absolutely due to the fact that Castaway Cay is like, you have it to yourself.
And I know it is. I mean, we talk about Castaway Cay in the previous times being like a paradise, right? But I mean, Castaway Cay with like 25% occupancy. I mean,
right?
Honestly, it is unbelievable. Like, it is so crazy awesome like that. We were so spoiled this time. It was crazy.
It's true.
I kept on Paige and Valerie like, this is nuts. This is crazy.
It's true. It's true. It's such an opportunity. So if you've been thinking about the Disney cruise experience and whether you want to take that on at this point in time, and you're saying, should I book something for now? Should I book something for next year? I would just absolutely encourage you to do it, because it was absolutely one of the best cruises that we've ever been on. I felt like the food was better. And it's many of the same dishes, right, that we're all familiar with, having been on the cruise so many times, but just the way that they were prepared, maybe it has to do with the fact that they don't have to prepare as many. I don't know. But we had great dining experiences. We had a great experience at Palo. We had great experiences on Castaway Cay. They have changed the menu just a bit as to what they're serving at Castaway Cay. They didn't have all, some of the things they had before. They had some new things. But again, just overall, such a great experience. And for those of you who snorkel, they have added some brand new things in the Snorkel Lagoon. Lots of cool things to find, like and I don't want to give it away because it's just fun to happen upon them. So make sure if you like to snorkel, you either bring your snorkel equipment, which you can do with Disney Cruise Line, or you make plans to rent them. It really is awesome. So
yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, this is one of those things. This window is going to close up, I would assume, pretty quickly to where it's going to get back to 100% capacity on the ships, and they're still awesome at 100% capacity. I mean,
right.
You know, we sail on them all the time, and we've had, I mean, you've seen the pictures from the podcast cruises. I mean, we have a blast when those ships are 100% sold out. It does not affect it, but it's just, you know, it's one of those things. You almost feel like a VIP when you're on a 25 or 35 or 45% sailing. It's just,
yes,
it's incredible. Cause like even at dinner, like we were sitting at our own table, but it wasn't, because I'm a person, I know that people have two philosophies. I talk with my guests about this a lot, you know, whether you want communal dining and to sit with people from other, you know, parties at your table. Cause I like that, because I just like to talk to people. And I think it's kind of fun to talk to people from other parts of the world. You know, where are you from? And just get to know them throughout the cruise. Some people just like sit with their families because that, you know, they're more introverts, and I totally get that too. But like, you know, I was striking up conversations with folks at like the next table, because, you know, there was a nice lady that she was actually a travel agent at the next table. She was traveling solo on this cruise, and, you know, we were close enough that we could carry on a conversation. We were at different tables, but we were just next to each other, and it was, you know, it was interesting. You know, we were in Animator's Palette, the whole show went on, and the thing was, you know, in this time period in Animator's Palette, man, I mean, like I was having a whole full on conversation with Crush, like. I mean, I was getting interviewed, like, you know, like Dan Rather. It was like, you know, it was like, I felt like I was like on 2020 or something, you know, it was like, went on for 20 minutes. I was like, okay, now I'm moving out here, because it was crazy. You know, you're getting time, and you probably saw this, Pam, like the characters on the ships. I mean, like Chip and Dale, they almost cried when I left, like, cause there's nobody else to meet them. Like, I mean,
right.
you weren't like jockeying to meet the characters. Like, it was like, hey, can you hang out a little bit more, Mike? Yeah, there's nobody else here. It was so weird.
And it was all the time too.
Totally, it was crazy.
And there were characters that you don't typically see.
Yeah, Frozone was out all the time. I was like,
it was amazing, really and truly. And the other thing I wanted to say is my takeaway was this is a Halloween on the High Seas cruise, and you can find them, you know, in the fall at different times. This is a great time to cruise because they have extra, you know, special things going on. It's really a great time to cruise. But other things that Disney does is they have these specialty kind of cruises. They have holiday cruises. They have Marvel cruises. They have all these different kinds of cruises, and consider taking one of them, because Disney really goes out of their way to make sure that you're sort of enveloped by that theme. There's special events, all kinds of things going on during that time too.
And you know, here's kind of a last thing, and then we're going to go on. We're going to talk about Space 220, because we all ate there and we've been waiting to talk about this meal. This is the most waited on meal to talk about in the history of podcasting, I think.
Right.
Because we wanted to all be together on this one. I will say though, and this is something that's a weird situation right now, is that I have priced out vacations for folks at Walt Disney World for like a 5-night stay. And we've been able to get cruises for that same time period for less than a Walt Disney World stay, sometimes a deluxe resort or even a moderate resort. They're coming in close. So I'm just saying, if you've ever been on the fence about taking your first cruise, you know, in the next, say, like 4 or 5 months, you know, maybe this winter or you know, early spring, cruising is coming in close to Walt Disney World for about the same amount of nights. So I'm just saying,
though, you'll be spoiled once you take the cruise.
Be careful what you do. I'm saying,
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So it was a great opportunity. I'm so glad I got to experience it, and so many of our team members have too, just so we can make sure that we help our guests make the best choices. But there was really, I loved everything about it, and I feel like it was just such a special opportunity because this is a special point in time. So
it is. And it was a special point in time when Space 220 actually became a reality.
Right?
I know. This was so awesome. So, Ricky, I know that you took one for the team. This was your second time there.
I know.
I know you're an old hat at this, but
I am. Yeah.
So we got to go to Space 220. We had a dinner reservation, and we went there over the 50th. I think we went on October 2nd, as I recall.
We did. Yeah.
So you go over to Mission Space, and it's kind of hidden off to the side there where you check in with the hostess or the host, and they take you kind of it's a weird entrance to me. Like you kind of go like behind a wall, and
yes.
It feels backstagey.
It does feel backstagey.
Kind of like you got to almost like do a secret handshake or something, and then
right,
you gain access to the restaurant or something, because you got to get up the elevator. So anyway, I don't want to spoil too much because again, everything's a new experience, and we were lucky to get to do it. And I don't want to ruin your experience. Just want to kind of talk about overall in generalities about what we did. So we're not going to spoil things too hard, but you've probably seen and heard. We went into the restaurant. And you kind of go into a lobby area where you wait for your party and you do board an elevator. And this is actually something that
Stellevator.
A Stellevator. Okay. I just want to say though, because again, I'm a sci-fi geek and I do like space science and stuff. And a space elevator has been talked about as a legit way to get into space. This is something that scientists have discussed. I mean, it's not something that's totally fiction. They have talked about space elevators in the past, how to make it work. So this is
apparently they built one at Epcot today.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Yeah, right.
It's weird that you can't see it when you're outside. Anyway, it's totally crazy. It's go away blue or whatever that color.
It's painted that. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Galaxy building. It's awesome. You can't even see it. So you get in the elevator, whoosh, they shoot you up 220 miles, and boom, you're on the space station. So you come out. It's cool. There's lettuce and stuff, hydroponics, going in a gravity wheel. It's awesome. Then you get in the restaurant. You can look down at the curvature of the earth. Now, we've given a few tips as far as going in. My biggest tip, and we'll talk about the food, but my biggest tip upon going in, I don't know if you have any say on where you sit. You probably don't. But if you were to have, any say in where you sit, we sat in a great spot because it was in the back of the restaurant where there's booths along the opposite wall of the, the windows where you look out over Earth. And this allows you to look out over the entire restaurant and all the windows. Now, one of our agents who was there dining with us, Steve Baker, he made a great point that if you have a table that's up against the windows, you might think, because like when I'm on an airplane, I have to fly in the window seat, right? I got to know where we're going. Now, I'm not flying the plane. It doesn't matter what I see, right? I mean, I don't have a yoke. This is going to affect anything. I got to know where I'm going, so I got to sit in a window seat. So that's kind of my thing. But you would think maybe it's Space 220. I need to sit at the window so I can see like what's happening. But the problem is if you have a window seat, well, that's great because you're right up on that one window. You're not seeing like the 10 windows, you're not seeing the panorama of the entire view. So I say if you get the opportunity, sit back as far as you can in the restaurant. You'll kind of see the more overview of the entire experience. So that was kind of the first tip I would say. So Pam, walk us through your initial thoughts coming into the restaurant, tips, stuff like that.
So there's part of this experience that really felt like old Epcot to me, right? Because it sort of was edutainment in that space. It was sort of a little bit of education, a little bit of learning, hidden behind this whole entertainment thing. And I really liked that. The cast members there seem very passionate about it. They want to communicate this experience to you. They know this is a hard ticket to get at this point, right? Finding a spot to dine here is really challenging. But I think it's probably the kind of place there's not a bad seat in the house. It's just a matter of what's a priority to you. I would just go into it with an open mind, though, and sit where you sit. They may have, something that you haven't thought of, right? When you're sitting close or sitting far away. We were happy with our seats, and sort of it started at that point. We looked through the menu. For those that don't know, it is a prefix menu. So you're going to get at lunch an appetizer and entree, and at dinner an appetizer, entree, and dessert. And there's a difference in price for that. In addition to that, there's some really cool drinks, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic, and they're fantastic sounding. They're some of them are really super creative in the way that they're made and brought out. And I think those are worth considering as well. Don't you think?
Oh yeah. So my drink that I had was based, I can't remember the name of it, but it was Tang with
yes.
I think it had like some other juices in there, but it also had astronaut ice cream in it. So I mean, right. I'm Mike Rallman. I worked at Space Camp. I taught space science forever. I mean, if there's a drink that has Tang and astronaut ice cream in it,
Mike Rallman's getting it.
Seriously, it's called the Rallman. I mean, I had to get it. So I mean, it was just a novelty, right? It was just a bunch of junk in there, but it was good. I mean, it was a little fruity drink and it was fun. So I got that and it was a good little drink. And Pam, I think you were looking for something that wasn't sweet. I think that's what you were kind
I
of.
was, because I don't really like sweet drinks. So I wanted her to give me the least sweet one. There was one that was very interesting to me that I thought about getting, but it had like, it was poured over cotton candy. So
Yeah,
I was like,
that's probably sweet. Yeah, I think
yeah, that's probably going to be sweet. So anyways, I ended up having what was more like a traditional Cosmo, but they put their own twist on it because there were these little, these little pieces of orange peel that were of course cut into a star. And that was kind of a cool thing. I mean, just they're really themed throughout the whole thing. So.
And Ricky, you had a non-alcoholic like white drink. What was that?
It was the Milky Way. So it was it was a very coffee sweet drink. I believe it had caramel and there was some other syrup I think in there as well, but it was as a coffee drinker, it was exceptionally sweet. I do tend to like a little not as sweet coffees. So I was like, whoa. But I like the novelty. So when I dined there the first time, they actually did clip a Milky Way to the drink as well. So they didn't the second time, but it was kind of cool the first time that they did that.
Wait, they clipped a Milky Way candy bar or what?
Yeah, a candy bar.
Gosh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So I'm guessing they probably ran out of Milky Ways from the time that I was there the first time to the second time. But yeah, it was still really cool.
So I do want to throw in another tip for this restaurant. A couple things that we noticed throughout the meal. Also, shout out to Ricky. She gave me the best seat because at first I had my back to the whole thing. But I've been here before. I'll let you get the good seat. So she did give me the good
seat.
Look,
don't ever say that I am mean to Mike. I totally was like, I have been here before as much as I would like to see everything because I really did. I was not selfish and I gave up my seat to you, so you're very welcome, Mike.
And I got to sit next to Steve, and Steve and I got to cut up about all kinds of stuff. So
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So a couple things. Okay, so obviously this is like it's dinner and a show, right? I mean, this is like a hoop-de-doo review, or this is like if you're not a Disney fan, it's like a like if you go to, I don't even know what that's called, like where you go and they have like the knights and stuff, and you
right, like the medieval times,
or like
medieval times,
like the cowboys and stuff in the middle. Yeah, it's like something like that. Like, are you? Because the question I kept getting asked when I got home, like, are you going to do this every trip? Probably not. Because the thing is, it's expensive, but it is something that I would take people that go that have never been. I would want them to see this. It's more than a meal. It is an experience. Like you go in there and your jaw kind of drops on the elevator when you get up to the restaurant. I mean, there's a lot of kind of jaw dropping moments, and the food was really, really good too. I mean, overall, it's a great package, but I mean, I don't eat signature every time I go either. I'm the kind of guy that's fine at Pecos Bills or Casey's or, what have you. I'm totally fine with that, but it was worth it because it was not just a meal. It was dinner and a show. It was like a hoop-de-doo kind of thing. So, and like I like the back in the day, I used to love the luau at the Polynesian. I would do that, but I wouldn't do it every trip. I do it like once every couple of years, every 3 years. Kind of exactly the same thing for me. So that was that. What about Pam? Walk us through. We don't have to talk about everything we ate, but the food quality because you're a foodie. So what'd you think about that? I had the big thing of cheese. That was awesome. I didn't know what it was.
I know, right?
I was like, I don't know anything is cheese.
Mike found out that it was a ball of cheese, and he's like, "I'm sold. Let's go."
I came home and told my wife, Pam, was like, "This thing is cheese. That's not an egg.
It's burrata that you had."
Yes, so and it was so good. Yeah, you did, and we tried a few of the different appetizers there. There was some fried cauliflower that was served with a hot sauce and had a blue cheese dust. That was really good too. I know some had some calamari. I had this tuna tartare. It was good too. But they have things that would, sort of appeal to most people, I think, too. Like the thing that Mike got, the Big Bang burrata. I mean, that was good. And it was served with artichoke hearts and arugula and sunflower. Really tasty. For the main course too, they have a number of different things. They have a short rib, a chicken, a pasta with a bolognese sauce, a filet, a red snapper, duck, and salmon. So I think that there's some kind of choice there that everyone is going to like. We had the filet and the duck and the short rib, I think, were ordered by folks at our table, and I think we all really liked that. The desserts too at dinner, they're included, and you're going to be able to choose things like a carrot cake, a cheesecake, a mousse, a sticky toffee pudding, and a gelato. Now, as I'm reading these, some of these things kind of sort of sound like regular food, right? But I will tell you, every one of these entrees and appetizers and desserts was sort of made with this, keeping this theme in mind. It had some way of preparing and presenting to you that was not typical or usual, right? It just, they did a good job carrying that theme through. And everything we had was good. So I was really glad we had the chance to experience it.
It was so good. It was. Here's another couple things too. I keep thinking this meal was really unique. I mean, it was very unique because it was a totally new restaurant, a whole new experience. Really, a couple things. One is it's dark in there because it's obviously, I mean, it's, like you're looking out and it's, you see the sunrise and the sunset, like the orbital sunrise, the orbital sunset. It's a very cool effect. It's very cool looking, but it's dark and it's very chill. It's like eating in coral reef. If you've ever eaten in coral reef, it's a very similar vibe. And apparently in space, there's like white noise. It's kind of this like low hum that's like, and the meal there takes a long time, which I mean, that's cool because you're there for the experience. You don't want to be rushed in. But I'm just telling you, man, I think it was because the food was so rich. I had that pound and a half of cheese for an appetizer. Then I had a filet, then I had the chocolate cheesecake, and I had a drink to start. I was about to fall asleep by the end of that meal. I was so chill. Like I was just like, oh my gosh, like between the white noise machine and I'm in space and there's no gravity up here. I'm just telling you, man, you got to be ready. And it was like late at night. I usually eat at 4:00. This was like 7:30. I was like, get me a bed, get me a space bed, a sleeping bag or something. Cause I am so tired. Like it wore me out. It's so chill up there, but it does have kind of that same vibe of a coral reef. Some people were like, is it like coral reef? I get that coral reef connection. I mean, it's updated, but it's, no wall carpet, but it's
no wall carpet, but it's, yeah, it is. You're right. It's like relaxing. You have something you can focus on. You can sort of zone out, and it sort of lends itself to that, right? That you're just like there and really relaxing. Like I think like if you're there in the middle of summer, would be a place I'm planning lunch, right? Because I just want to escape the heat of the parks and sit in Space 220. So
yeah, it's like you plug your phone in, like recharge, into your brick. Like this is the human brick. Like you just walk in there,
right?
And you're like at 17%, and you just see like you're 83%. You just have lunch.
Exactly.
You're back in. All right, Ricky, well, just about out of time. So final thoughts on Space 220. You've been twice. So tips, thoughts, close it out for us here.
I have been twice. And, I really love Space 220. I dare say, think it may be my favorite restaurant at Epcot for sure. Maybe Walt Disney World right now at this point. I think it was a fantastic addition. I do think I maybe like lunch just a smidgen better. But you can add dessert on at lunch too. It ends up basically costing about the same. I felt like I got steak at lunch, and I felt like that was a little bit better at because it wasn't a fillet. There was a fillet at dinner, but it was a different cut of steak at lunch. I enjoyed that cut of steak just a little bit better. Who would have thought that I'd enjoyed that better than a fillet? But it was very good. So I do think that I, like Pam, would probably choose a lunch option, not for the fact of like it's cheaper, because I would probably end up spending the same amount of money. Because you can bet I'm getting that sticky toffee pudding. I mean, for dessert, that is so good.
I still can't stop thinking about the 15-layer cake at the steak.
I know you got that. You got that. So, but I really, really like this restaurant. I think they did a fantastic job. And yes, I can officially say it exists. And I've been to space twice now. So yeah, that part's nice. And Christopher's asking in the chat, what's the deal with the lounge, physical line or virtual? As far as what I can understand, it is a physical line that you have to get into. And you have to wait until they're ready to seat you. So just keep that in mind. If you can't get a reservation for this restaurant, they do have the ability to dine in the lounge. So you will have you'll get to see. I mean, the lounge is right there. I mean, you get to have the full same
I was
experience.
really surprised to see like that lounge is dead in the middle of the restaurant. Like it's not off to the side like it's Steakhouse 71. Like it is boom. I mean, you get the whole thing right there at the lounge.
It is right there, yeah. And it's, I think, a lot larger than I thought it would be as well. So just keep that in mind, that if you can't get a reservation, the lounge is available. You just may have to wait a little while. They are not taking names right now and having you come back, or, you know, texting you, you know, that your table is ready or whatever. Like, you have to wait in line. So just keep that in mind. But if you can't get that reservation, it might very well be worth it for you. It just depends on how much you really want to dine there. Oh, and the lounge is a la carte, not prefixed. So just keep that in mind too.
The lounge line is physical, like Olivia Newton-John.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
No,
my.
You know, that song will be stuck in your head all
Yeah,
weekend,
thanks a
baby.
lot, Mike.
Mhm.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay, and that's going to do it for today's show. So now that's going to be burned into your brain all day long. You're welcome. Don't forget, today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to get you to space, or at least space 220 down at Epcot. Just drop by the magicforless.com. Check out all the great trip planning tools to get started. One of the things I recommend is that resort guide. Lots of great stuff there to see. Hey, man, what do those rooms look like at Pop Century? How many pools do they have? What's the approximate square footage on a Pop Century room? It's all there. Check it out. Riverside. How great is it to have Riverside back? Yes. French Quarter. We'll see you here soon. I think next week. So yeah, we are getting back. Sports, we're waiting on you, buddy. I love sports. I need my football helmets back. We're counting on you, buddy. We need you. But yeah, everybody else, we are almost back. So yeah, check it out. Drop by the magicforless.com. Fill out that quote form, some dates, resorts, as much information as you have. We'll get back with you right away. Tell you what's available at what price. We can kind of refine things as we go until we get you that perfect Disney vacation set up. And we're going to help you navigate all these waters. They're changing, but we're there to help you out with all these things. So check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Also, please use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. That one extra click means a lot to us. And thank you to our patrons for allowing us to put out these podcasts 3 to 4 times every week. And our patrons get a bonus show every Thursday called Mike in the Midwest. If you'd like to get in on that, just visit patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Follow Ricky at Ricky Nibs, Instagram and Twitter. Follow Pam at TMFLT Pam. Also at the Magic for Less Travel on Instagram. And I'm at Be Our Guest Mike. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. And again, if you have a few minutes this week, leave us a rating and review on your podcast application. We'd sure appreciate that. And again, this Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, give us a call. It's the BOGP open line. We'll be talking Disney with you. All right, it's time to get out of here until we get back together again on Monday. You guys have a great weekend. So for Pam and Ricky, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. Yay. Thank you, Rhonda. Rhonda Lee is always here. I love Rhonda.
Right?
Nova Scotians must be just awesome. You've been to Nova Scotia, Ricky. Haven't you been to Nova Scotia?
Yeah. That I did go to Nova Scotia.
You didn't even know. I knew you went.
I didn't know. It was just honestly so long ago. But yeah, I mean, I did go to Nova Scotia. It was really cool. I liked it. Yeah. I love Brian and I. That Canadian cruise is one of our favorite cruises.
I know. I want to do that itinerary.
The part that was unique about that itinerary is it's the first time, and I think at this point only time, that Disney has ever hit those ports. So, you know, we hit up a lot of smaller ports that Disney doesn't usually hit up when they go up to Canada. So, you know, we hit Baie-Comeau and Saguenay and, you know, places that people have never heard of on our way to Quebec. And it was just such a cool cruise. Like, Brian and I both talk about that cruise to this day as like one of the best cruises we've been on, just as far as like uniqueness. So yeah, it was really, really cool. So
Canadians rock. Okay, real quick. Laurie's got a question, then we'll duck out of here. She's wanting to know, should she buy her Christmas party ticket now, or they're going third week of November, or wait to see what the weather's going to be like? What would you do? I'd buy it now if you want to go. I know
I would too.
Yeah,
to you.
Let's put it this way: they haven't sold out yet, but that doesn't mean that they won't.
Third week of November is awful close to Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's true. So I would buy it now.
Yeah, so we got
just
3
in
now.
case.
But yeah, we're ducking out because it's dinner time, Laurie. So we want to get you an answer, but yeah, we got 3 nows. So
yeah,
I know it's a big investment, but go now and then just get a poncho.
Yeah.
Be prepared to go no matter what.
Yep. All right. I'll see you guys later. This
was
See ya. Bye.